Welcome back to Fast Gear. After the transmission has been removed, we are going to open it to fix the issues with the oil leak on the oil pan and clean the internal components. Make sure you attach the transmission upside down to a very stable table. This transmission requires a lot of force to open. Remove all the screws around the pan. Use a soft hammer on the pan to release the seal. When you open it, be careful not to damage any component. Do a detailed inspection to ensure all the components in the transmission are not damaged. It's important to look for any metal particles that are loose inside the transmission pan. The next step is to remove the valve body. Carefully remove all the screws from the valve body. It is highly recommended to clean the transmission before you open it and before you do any work on it. Make sure the area where you're working is clean of any objects that can cause damage to the transmission. Now, carefully remove the valve body from the transmission. Be extremely careful not to break any of the mounting tabs from the valve body. There's a wire on the left side that has to be removed before you pull it out completely. Take your time to ensure perfect completion of the job. After we remove the wire and put away the valve body, we are going to open the tail of the transmission. It's important to remember that these screws have different sizes. As you can see, I'm taking one that's shorter. When it comes to the installation of the transmission, you have to be careful when you install these screws to avoid damaging the transmission case. Installing a longer fastener in an improper hole will damage the transmission case. It is necessary to tap the transmission with a soft hammer just to create enough separation from the seal to allow us to pull the transmission cap off. In this case, we like to use a very thin blade to help separate the seal from the transmission cover. Tapping the transmission slowly on the side allows the blade to go through and break the seal. Remember to go one section at a time. Once everything is loose, we are going to remove the cap. It is recommended to use a puller to remove this cap. This cap is designed with about 0.002 inches of interference fit, allowing the cap to press in. When it's installed or removed, this will allow all the moving parts to have a stable area. The next step is to clean the plastic strips in this section. You can see where the plastic strips are located. Those are magnets designed to collect any grinding metal that comes from the gears. Remove them before they reach the valve body. It's very important to do this maintenance every 4 years or every 4,000 miles. Now, after we have done all the cleaning and preparation, we are going to clean the area and install the seal on the transmission. In this case, we ordered special sealant designed for the transmission, which can withstand high and low temperatures. Carefully install a fine bed of sealant around the flat surfaces of the cap landing. Make sure when you apply the sealant, you don't leave any gaps or spaces that could create a bubble, causing a leak in the future. Apply the sealant consistently for better quality seal application. Now it's time to install the cap back on. Remember to be extremely careful with the collector. That's the plastic you just heard about. The plastic goes attached to the bottom part of the collector. It needs to be installed and properly adjusted before you close it. The mechanic is holding the collector in hand. Put it back in the hole, carefully align the cap, and lower it carefully. Once the cap is in place, apply pressure slowly to different points of the transmission cap to apply equal force on each corner, allowing the cap to go down evenly. As I mentioned before, the holes on the top have close tolerance or interference fit. The interference fit is about 0.002 inches smaller than the diameter. Carefully tap the cap to ensure perfect alignment. With the caliper, measure the ends of the cap to assure that dimensions are even on each corner. This will tell you how much needs to go down on this side. Continue tapping the cap. Don't forget to recheck the distance between the landing and the cap with the caliper to confirm everything is aligned. Now, when the cap is all the way down, double check the dimensions on the bearing side. You can measure it to ensure everything is the proper dimension where all three are perfectly the same size, confirming the cap is all the way down properly. It's very important to avoid any preload condition on the cap. A preload condition can cause a crack on the transmission cap. The next step will be to install the screws. Put the bolts one by one in the right place. Remember the sizes of the fasteners, some are shorter than others. Hand screw the screws in place to ensure no damage to the threads. Before you torque the screws on the cap, torque the shaft bearings on the top. Keeping the cap free of preload conditions is essential for the transmission to operate properly. Draw the fasteners in by hand. Remember to use the service manual to get the proper torque specification. Tightening the fasteners by hand allows you to see the progress. The next step will be to secure the fasteners on the valve cap. Get a wrench or an impact tool to tighten the fasteners. Remember, this sealant has a time limit. You have about 4 hours to sort everything before the sealant cures, which will take about 24 hours. Make sure to torque every fastener appropriately. Remember to consult the repair manual for torque information. Keep a cross-section torque pattern to avoid any damage to the cap.
finished torquing every fastener, the job is complete.
After you finish tightening every fastener, the job is complete. There you go, the transmission is assembled. The next step will be to install it on the vehicle and reinstall the caps, valve body, and any other components removed previously for maintenance. Thanks for watching.